Hello friends, I am Dr. Amarjit Kaur. I am Professor of Accounting and Business Communication at Gurugram University Department of Management. I am having about 30 years of experience by now and primarily in education sector as well as in food industry. So I have authored 8 books and 56 research papers. I am privileged to be present here today and talk on organizational structures and business communication. So it's a very interesting topic under business communication series we are running. So how does it affect business communication if the structure of an business organization differs like from each other? So this is what the agenda would be. What would be the level of communication? What would be the mode of communication, channels of communication in different business structures, right? So the agenda would be that today in the first half we will be talking about organizational structure. We will discuss in detail all kind of business structures, and then in the second half we will relate communication to the business structure, right? So this is how we will proceed with the session today. So what is the meaning of business organization? This is something we need to answer first before we talk about the structure and its relationship with the communication. So in general we say organization means a group of people who come together for the same purpose, for the same motive, right? It could be a business or it could be a government or department or anything, an NGO. So this is what organization means. So organized group of people having the same objective or a particular purpose, right? Now what is business organization? It's a system of which comprises individuals, internal and external stakeholders. It comprises even the thread of activities and thread of action which that organization carries to earn profit. So the important is that there is a thread of connectivity, thread of actions taking place in that organization with an objective of making money, right? So we are running these activities, or we are undertaking these activities to earn profit. That's what it means. Okay, so primarily business organization has objective to earn profit. Of course it should be in continuity, in perpetuity, and it should be the main profession. Somebody may be earning profit out of one transaction. That's not business, right? So when any economic activity is carried in continuity with the purpose of making money, then we call it as business, and the group of people who do or who carry that activity is known as business organization. It could be any form, an individual running a business, a partnership firm running a business, a corporation running a business. So form is something which we have many options available for. Okay, so structure of business organization. Once we know what business organization is, now the next thing is what is structure. So any business organization can be structured in variety of ways, depending upon the business model, depending upon the expansion strategy, the type of product we deal, the government guidelines. There are a couple of indicators which help us decide the business structure or the organizational structure. Okay, so on the basis of structure, one can divide the organization into two categories. Number one, traditional organization, and number two would be modern organization. Okay, so we'll take up those organizations which follow the traditional structure. We call them as traditional organizational structure, and then the modern organizational structure. That's how we are going to take up the matter now. So the structure of business organization, when it comes to traditional one, it is supposed to be static, whereas the modern structure is supposed to be dynamic in nature. So static means one particular type of structure is followed in the traditional one. In the modern one, we may have combination, we may have flexibility, we may keep on changing, right? Generally there are combinations available. more than one type of structure existing in within the system. Okay, so let's think what type of traditional business structures do we have. Can you think about it? Okay, so we have primarily 4 type of organizational structures which fall under traditional one, the traditional organizational structure, right? The first one is function based structure. Second one is geographical or territory based structure. The third one is customer or market based structure, and the last one is product based structure. Alright, so we have 4 structures. So let's take one by one all of them. So the function based structures are basically, we take business function. So what are those business function? Marketing, operations, accounting, finance, HR, these are the business functions, right? So if we are dividing the organization basis on these business functions, marketing, finance, HR, etc., which I just named, so that particular type of organization would be known as function based structure, or organization having traditional but function based structure, right? So we will have at the top we will have CEO, MD, etc., or president, etc. Then we will have functional head, marketing head, or it could be sales head, HR head, finance head, like that. So that is our function based structure. The second category under traditional organizational structure is geography based. So we may have Asia head, we may have let's say Africa head, Africa continent head. For different functions we have divided the territory. So one particular territory or geographical area belongs to one person, he is heading that. So I am, for example, I am finance head, but for the territory XYZ, Asia or North America, whatever, right? So and so on. So that particular structure where we have divided or have given the charge of the geographical location or area or territory to a person or to the department, that particular structure would be known as traditional one, but divided basis on the geographical area. Okay. The third one is customer or market based structure. Now here what we do, we would divide the basis on the customer. So let's say customers pertaining or dealing with the product line television, customers or market where we deal in air conditioner, refrigerators. So we are dividing the organization basis on the customer. So all the customers which pertains or which are which belongs to a particular product, so which belongs to a particular market, so we divide them. So market could be north zone, western zone, etc., etc., and same way if we extend it further, we do it product wise, air conditioner, that would be the fourth category, air conditioners, television, etc., etc. So market based could be North India, South India, like that. This seems to be geographical area, but we are dividing within that area, we are dividing basis on the customer. Let's say those customers who are institutional customers, retail customers, wholesale customers, like that. Okay, so we have divided like that. Premier customers, so generally organizations divide them as premier customers, the customers which really give them very high business. Okay, so this is how a market based structure can be developed. So people are heading, XYZ is heading that particular market or the customer base. So we are dividing basis on the customer. And product base, as I said, here we are taking the product line as a basis of division of the organization structure. Now it's very important to understand these functions, these classifications of organizational structure. Why? Because business communication will vary from one structure to the another for sure. Okay, the difference could be very minute or could be very large, but there is a likelihood of having a difference between one particular structure to the another structure. Okay, so if I talk about the second category of business structure, which is the modern one. So nowadays businesses classify organizational structures basis on matrix, network, virtual and mixed structure. These are known as modern organizational structure. So the matrix structure is very common nowadays, and most of the companies, especially companies dealing in technology, they are really dependent heavily on matrix structure. Okay, so the first one is matrix structure. So what is matrix organizational structure? So it's a structure where teams report to multiple leaders, right? So there's a team of 5 people who are developing a product. They are reporting to the product leader. The product is one, right? And they are reporting to, let's say, the functional head, technology, IT, HR, any functional head. So here basically individuals are working across teams. So there are many teams. Maybe that same person is working for more than one project. He is working for more than one product. Okay, so he is not reporting to one person. He is connected with 2, 3 leaders, 4 leaders at a time. So this type of structure is known as matrix structure or organizational structure. Okay, so we are seeing this structure very common, and this actually started developing in the era of 1970s, early 1970s. After that we saw decline in 1980s, and later on then again it picked up. So it is with us from the last couple of decades, more than 5 decades now. It's been couple of, but we still call it as modern structure because it's not that majority of people, I mean business organizations are following it. No. Okay, the matrix design keeps open communication between teams, companies, and it really helps creating innovative products because the communication is not restricted one way to one person or one leader, right? So teams are free to connect or interact with each other. So a product manager, a product specialist get a chance to discuss different specification of the product with different teams, right? So that leads to developing innovative products. So these are very common in, especially in IT technology based companies, IT companies, wherever, or telecommunication sector where the products are very innovative, they are technology based. Okay, so now that matrix organization could be a very weak matrix structure, as an organization may have very strong matrix structure or could have just a balanced one. So basis on that we divide the matrix organization into 3 types. This is the division of modern organization structure further under matrix category. So weak, balanced and strong. In the weak matrix structure, so few of the employees are reporting to many teams. There could be 1, 2, 3, 4, or if there are employees who are reporting to or almost everybody is reporting, but they are not reporting to more than 1 or 2 2 teams, more than 2 teams. So this kind of structure is known as weak matrix structure. Strong means their majority of them are reporting to many functional areas as well as product teams. There's a strong linkage between them. They are actually communicating very well. Balanced one, there's a mix. There's a decent mix of product and functions both. In a weak one, it is either inclined more towards product or more towards function. But the balanced one would have both the functional as well as the product inclination, right? So companies which really started using it in the early 70s were Philips, Caterpillar, Texas Instruments, etc., etc. All right. So now coming to the second type of structure under the modern one. So this is the second type is network organizational structure. So what is network organizational structure? We also call it as we call it as virtual network structure, right? So this is a temporary or likelihood is permanent arrangement between those parties which are otherwise independent. So they are independent entities, right, or organizations, but they come together and develop a network, right. They develop a network between the organizations. So with this, of course, with some common objective, right. So these kind of alliances are to produce a product. So let's say we are in the process of finding out some alternate to petrol or diesel, some very economical, environment friendly alternative to let's say petrol or diesel. So it is a likelihood that organizations which work in different domains, not only in petrol or diesel, but the companies which are working into environment, in biochemicals, in bioproducts, in the waste management, any kind of company, whosoever has an idea may or have an alliance with a company producing fuel, oil, fuel or diesel, etc., etc. So they come together to produce a particular product. So there's a particular agenda, right? Otherwise, they are independent companies, they are independent entities, and they come together. A government may come together with a private organization to develop some software, to develop some particular application, right? Some app. Okay. So what happens? There's a cross hierarchical teams, which are taking decision, which are participating in decision making, in discussion, and finally they are taking decisions. So examples is IBM, Digital Equipments, Dow Chemical. They all are actually following this network organizational structure, because purpose is to produce a particular product or develop a particular application or product. So different entities which are independent, they are coming together. Okay, in the network organization we have different types. It could be social impact network, cohort network, community of practice, associations and membership organizations, alliances and coalitions, regenerative networks. There are different types of network organization. Few organizations, they just come together because they want to make a social impact. Social impact, for example, nowadays about COVID, how to practice measures against COVID or COVID guidelines. If some organization is working to implement COVID guidelines, other organizations come together with that organization to make a social impact about that, right? Social impact about against any evil, any bad practice, any social taboo, anything. So cohort network is almost the similar guidelines. Some kind of cohort comes in together, so they come together and but they want to make some impact or develop some product. So this is how cohort networks are very common nowadays. Then we have community of practice. So people who are almost of the similar practice, they come together, right? That also becomes network organization. I would not like to name. There are many saints, many preachers who preach a particular thought or idea. So they practice the same thing. They chant the same kind of bhajans, etc., etc. So they come together. Similar way we could have membership organizations, associations coming together. So that is also network. So the network of practitioners. So for example, I am CMA. I am Certified Management Accountant from Chicago. So there's a network of CMAs on the IMA portal, right? So that is a network organization. So it's connecting CMAs across the world. So here the purpose is to develop acumen of strategy, management, accounting and all that. So to develop ethical CMAs. So that is also network organization. So there are a couple of such examples. Alliances and coalition, of course they do happen. Regenerative network is another option. So this is how the third type network organizations do work. Now we'll come to the virtual and then mixed ones, third and fourth now. So the virtual organization is a basically flexible network of separate entities. So why do they come? They come together, they form collaboration by connecting companies, institutions, individuals who are delivering a product or service on the basis of common business perception, right? So network of separate entities, they are coming together to sell. For example, distributors. So virtual, so they are not connected as such, but they are independent entities. They are distributors of the particular product, and they have the same perception about that product, that this is reasonably good. It could be steel, cement, any makeup product, any such product, right? So they have the same or similar perception about that product, so they come together. So that is known as virtual organization, right? So the structure is, so here it is not one business, the actual business entities are separate, but there are distributors in a particular car company. So all those distributors are basically virtually connected. I mean, they are not actually, they are independent entities. Since they come together to sell that particular car which is manufactured by the company in question, I won't name any company here. So that's how it becomes virtual organization. So it's a flexible network of separate entities, right? So they collaborate and they're connected to each other, so it could be institution, it could be individual, it could be company, it could be just an individual, but they are delivering the same product or the same service, right? Like for example, we have bank branches. So every branch is independent, right? Though they are not legal entities. So this is this can also be taken as an example of virtual organization. So though every branch is independent, they are answerable to their customer, they are delivering the same product of the service which other branches, most of the branches would be delivering. It's not that all services are available on all the bank branches. Same could be insurance companies, right? So network of separate entities. Every branch is separate, but otherwise they form one organization. But the other example I took was where they don't belong to the main entity. For example, the car distributors. Okay, so one can look at from both the perspectives which I just discussed. Then the mixed structure is a method of organization that maintains both functional supervisors as well as project supervisor. So mixed structure. So we have functional supervisor like marketing head, HR head, finance head, operations head, and we have project supervisors as well. So how does it work? So let's say there's a project which is going on in South Africa, in Ghana, in the country Ghana, right? And the project could be extracting oil from the desert area, okay, or extracting coal, extract from the mine, extracting gold from the mine. It could be any project, or developing a network of 4G. Today India announced 5G network. So it could be anything like that. But we have both. We do have the functional head. We have HR head, marketing head, finance head, etc. in that company, and along with that there are project supervisors. So those project supervisors are actually connecting to so they are also heads of something, and so are the function heads. So they both are heads, they both are supervisors. So this is what is known as mixed organization structure. Okay, so friends, so far we have discussed two major categories of organizational structure. One was traditional one, where primarily function based, and then we have the modern one where the matrix structure is very common. And understanding of this business structure is very important to understand how business communication work in different structures, right? So I really appreciate your presence and watching this show, watching this lecture. Thank you very much. Thanks.